this was an extremely intelligent, almost a genius, considered by some psychiatrists. He was almost, he was very, very smart. He had a high IQ, and he kind of maybe was smarter than even his IQ was showing. But it's a different story, so I hope that you join me today as we go through his childhood and why he thinks that his mother made him into what he is today, a serial killer. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Mystery Theory. Today we're going to cover a case of another serial killer, and his name is Edmund Kemper. Edmund Kemper had the excuse at the end that his mother made him do it. So I'm going to tell you his story. I'm going to tell you what happened and how he ended up blaming his own mother for what he did. Edmund Kemper was born in 1948 in Burbank, California. He was the middle child, and he had an older sister and a younger sister. His dad was a great example, and Edmund looked up to him. His mom, on the other side, she was very abusive, alcoholic, and she loved to make fun of him. Edmund was a very smart kid, above average, and we will later learn his IQ and how it developed. He was also considered a genius at one point, and physically he was a very tall kid or guy, and heavy and strong since he was young. However, his sisters always pushed him around, and the mom would encourage and allow that behavior. Edmund started to show some antisocial and sadistic ways when he was still very young. There was this horrible incident where he took the family's cat and buried the cat alive. Then he decided to dig it back up to cut the head off. Yeah, he didn't actually, feel bad for the cat or anything like that, and that's why he dig him back up, but he actually decided to cut the head and mount it on a stick. Later on, his parents divorced, and his mom was the one that got custody of him. He hated the idea. He wanted to stay with his dad, but they had to go and move to Montana with his mom, leaving his dad in California. That was a very hard time for Edmund. He never got along with his mom. She was very abusive, and now he was forced and almost like punished to go and live with her. When they moved away, the mom's behavior got worse. She wasn't only abusing him in the same ways that she did back home, but she decided to lock him in the basement at night because she was afraid that he was going to rape his younger sister. Now hold on there. If you believe that your son is going to rape your own daughter, you either call the police and do something about it. You take him to get evaluated and maybe put in some place if it's confirmed that he's able or that he have some kind of problem or tendency, or maybe the mom was a little paranoid. I don't know really if they had arguments where he would threaten her is almost like there's a lot that we have to read in between the lines because we don't have first-hand details of why she got to the point that she thought that he could rape one of his sisters. In the meantime, his dad had remarried and had a new son. And after having all those problems with his mom, Edmund, without knowing that he got remarried and that he had a new son, he decided to go and look for his dad back in California. Now, he learned that his dad was remarried and that he had a son, but he decided to stay with him anyways. But later on, the dad sent him back to his mother. Again, I don't know what he did, or if he didn't get along, and the kind of behavior he had with his dad. But even though his dad loved him very much, and even though he wanted to stay with his dad, something happened and he was sent back. At the time, he was only 15 years old. And as soon as he got back, the mom sent him to his grandparents' house to live with him because she couldn't deal with him. He had many arguments and problems with Grandpa and Grandma. Overall, they just didn't get along. They didn't share the same ways of living that he had and the behavior that he had. And one night, he got into an argument with his grandmother and decided to end the argument by grabbing a rifle and shooting her in the head, which killed her instantly. Again, he was a big guy, so he started to remove the body, kind of drag the body, and at that point he was interrupted by hearing, actually, his grandpa's car that was pulling in the driveway, and he decided to step outside, and he shot him, killing him too. Now at this point, he was sent to a psychiatric hospital. Gosh, I always get that wrong. And when they asked in the hospital why he did it, he said that he killed his grandma because he wanted to see what it felt like to kill somebody, and that he killed his grandpa because he wanted to avoid punishment. What? Okay, let's go with it. Remember that this guy was super smart, okay? So, when he got to the hospital, he started a friendship with his psychiatrist, which I had to read in several places because I couldn't believe it. But apparently they were friendly, and later on, Edmund became the assistant of the psychiatrist and his friend. Just so you have a reference, he initially had an IQ of 136, and later on it would be 145. He was released against the advice of the psychiatrists, and they thought that he was still dangerous and that he shouldn't be released. But he got released 5 years after killing his grandparents. By the time that he left, he was 6'9", a pretty tall guy, and weighed is one of the most, well, I don't know, yeah, one of the most shocking things is that not only he was released for his great, not even good, but great behavior, but because of his amazing behavior while he was there, his record was expunged and released to his mother. So, three things that are wrong. If you know the guy is really smart, of course he's gonna be good. He's gonna have good behavior. And if he got his record expunged because of that's kind of silly to me. And then release him to his mother. I think the psychiatrist probably got a hint when he started telling him how his mom was abusive. And once he learned the story of him running away from his mom, going to his dad, then sent back to his mom, and then sent back to the grandparents, you would think that he wouldn't be released to his mother, but oh well. When he got out, surprise, surprise, he didn't change. He actually was eager to get out, to start to kill again. And he was very happy that he was able to fool everyone. From 1972 to 1973, he went on a murder spree. He was killing mostly female students, and most of them hitchhikers that he would pick up after whatever he knows specifically where to go. He would call those trips hunting trips, and he would pick them up and take them to a secluded area to murder them. And for being a serial killer, he's a very interesting, for lack of a better word, one, because he didn't have a specific way for killing people. He would kill them by knife. He would shoot them or smother them. He didn't care. After he killed them, if you thought that was enough, no. He would take them to his place to decapitate them and have sex with the corpses. So he would have sex with the heads. And I mean, this guy is completely sick. In one instance, he took one of the victims to his mom's house, hid her in his bedroom, decapitated the victim, and buried her head in his mother's garden because his mom always wanted somebody to look up to. No, I got that wrong. She wanted somebody who would look up to her. What? Yeah. I mean, gotta commend the guy for having all these kind of weird connections to what his mom said. And I mean, sick ways of. I mean, this should show us how much we can scar people. How would he remember all those specific things that she wanted? And unless it was something that it was said all the time to him, why would he want to punish his mother so much if it wasn't because the relationship was a sick relationship? And again, he was a smart guy, so he was trying to, I feel in my mind, he was also kind of was because right after an argument or a problem that he had with his mom, that having a fight with his mom was a trigger to go and find these female students or young ladies to kill. Now, very oddly enough, on Good Friday, 1973, Edmund woke up when he heard his mom coming back from a late party. She went straight to her room to read a book, and Edmund followed her. They started having a conversation that of course escalated to an argument, and the mom started with her sarcastic ways. And so he told her good night right before he beat her to death with a claw hammer. So apparently the sarcastic remarks was something that was passed on this guy. Okay. So then, because that wasn't enough for him, he decided to invite his mother's best friend over, and he killed her too. Oh, by the way, when he killed his mom, he cut her head. He raped it. Yeah, I had to pause there because I have a lot of thoughts on that. Ripped out her vocal cord. Okay, listen to this. He ripped out her vocal cords so she would be quiet. And maybe this has something to do with him thinking or having her head, not her head, but her voice inside his head. And maybe he thought that by cutting the vocal cords, it was kind of a symbol of making her shut up. He not only cut the vocal cords, he decided to put them in the garbage disposal and tried to dispose of them. Just as a sign, just like a symbol of his mother being quiet forever. But they were big, and so the garbage disposal couldn't process it. Gross. And it spit it out into the sink again, which I thought it was funny, because it was almost like she didn't want to stop talking, or she didn't want to shut up. Which again, maybe he did hear her her voice in his head. We don't know that, but he didn't turn himself in to the police, which, by the way, is one of the weirdest things that you'll see doing from a serial killer. I mean, some of them do, but they are the minority. And remember that this guy was very, very smart, so he could have pretended a psychotic break or, something and get away with it. But he went to the police and he turned himself in. And he, of course, blamed his mother for everything that he did, including killing all those girls. Now, he got a sentence to life in prison. But according to some of the articles about this guy that I read, he has been eligible for parole since then. But every time, that there is some kind of a meeting where he would have to explain why he deserves to be let out. And he would say to the warden that if he got released, he would kill again. So basically, he wants to stay there because it's a free hotel for him. I mean, and that's what some things that I think, not really because I read it anywhere, but or he truly is scared of himself and what he would do if he gets out and if he gets the urge to kill again. Now I know a lot of people that have horrible childhood and never harmed a soul. They are actually the opposite. They want to help people. They want to do things. They want to, you know what I mean? So, I find it interesting to know that he blamed his mother for everything that he did. Even though we're merely humans here, we don't, the people that go through these things, most of the times are not considered genius as he was considered at one point. So even though we're not the smartest cookie in the jar, most people can deal with problems in their childhood. Abuse from their own parents, which, by the way, I feel like that would be probably something very scarring and something that, I don't know, you probably need therapy to overcome. But being that smart, he really thought that would be the only way out. Killing his mother, cutting the vocal cords. I mean, this guy definitely had, and that kind, I don't know. It's just sad to know that somebody can develop into a monster, basically, because it blame it on their childhood. I have to say that a lot of things that you go while you're a child, they really define you. They really, and if you're younger, maybe you don't know yet, but once you start getting older, you start to circle back to your childhood. As an example, when I was younger, when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents on my mom's side. My dad's side, they died before I was born. But my grandparents on my mom's side, they always wanted to compensate for me having just one pair of grandparents. And they didn't have much money, but they had time, and they spent all their time, the time that they could with me. They taught me how to make things, how to be useful around the house, how to, travel and love to travel, how to love animals. And now that I turned 36 last Sunday, I circle back to those things and realize that what they taught me back then, it really impacted my life now. Now I'm working to live more of a simple life, to move to a place where it's more nature and where it's more about living not the city lifestyle. That I love to travel because they showed me what it felt like to travel. I love road trips because I used to go into 30 hours road trips with them in their car. That some of the best dishes that my kids love that I make are the ones that my grandma taught me how to put together. And so can you see how it always goes back to those things that at the time I just thought I was killing time with my parents, but I wasn't. My parents were working, and my grandparents were the ones that had the most time, and I enjoy spending time with them. And they enjoy buying every single pet that I wanted. A hamster, a rabbit, a bird, was all inspired. It was all instilled in me by my grandparents that had the time to spend with me. And even though they didn't have a big house, they didn't have a good car, they had a so-so car, kind of old and crappy, but it took us everywhere. And even though my grandpa was an alcoholic that was on AA, and we would go to every meeting, and I met imperfect people, quote unquote imperfect people, that were trying to get better. My goodness, that helped me to be compassionate with people, to understand that we're not perfect, but also to be kind of, I don't know, grateful is not the word, but to understand how hard it is for people to change, and praise when somebody does it, when they make the choice to change and they stick to it, no matter how hard it is. I can appreciate that. So, now that I told you a lot about my life, how does that connect to the case? Well, I can see how a childhood that is hard will circle back to it. Once you're older, you'll circle back to it. You remember some of the things that they told you, and how they made you feel, and how you make other people feel because of the way that somebody else did when you were younger. I remember my grandma loving to teach me how to cook and do things around the house, and she felt so happy when I learned. And now when I teach my kids to do things, I get the same feeling. So again, even though we're not doing it on purpose, we're not following something to the T. We're influenced by those things, and it's just in us without even making the decision to become that. So when we were going through those things, either good or bad things, they made us who we are today. But I also believe that we have a choice, and I believe that Edmund took the easy way out, the victim version of his life. He decided that he was a victim and he was going to victimize other people because of how he felt. Not okay. I'm glad that he is in jail. I'm glad that he is smart enough to understand that he won't be able to stop if he gets out. And I hope that the authorities consider that, because that would be the second time that they would release somebody who just is not in the right mind. My asthma is killing me, so probably this video was very breathy, and I know that the heater came on while I was recording this voice over, but really, if I turn it off, I'm gonna freeze. It's so You're on